So in the previous lecture, we have mainly discussed about the Industrial Dispute Act, then the labor laws, or what are the rule of labor in civil engineering. And in this module, we will moving on to the next section, that is the collective bargaining. So here, collective bargaining, that based on the name itself, it suggests certain meaning because it is the agreement between the single employer or an association of an employer on one hand and labor union on the other. So it is the process in which the representative of a labor organization and the representative of business organization meet and attempt to negotiate a contract or agreement. So the same scenario you have observed in the movies or in the previous days movies, but that term itself, engineering way, it is the collective bargaining that is called. So basically, in the words of that, these are the for the Edwin Flippo. Then the objectives behind the collective bargaining is to provide an opportunity to the workers for the voice, to reaching a solution that is acceptable, to maintain a cordial relationship, to prevent the striking and enhance the productivity, to resolve and prevent all conflicts and disputes in a mutually agreeable manner, to develop a conducting atmosphere and peaceful organization. So these are the basic objectives. So as a whole, so the collective bargaining is a process that involves the negotiation, drafting, administration, interpretation of a written agreement between the employer and the union for a specific period of time. So it is basically the method by which trade union protects and improve the condition of their members' working lives. And there are different types of that bargaining: distributive, integrative, productivity, and composite. So the nature of the collective bargaining is just like similar to a poker game, which is a combination of bluff, deception, ability, and luck. Or you can say it as a rational process in which contradicting interests of the parties are united, which are reunited, and is a also a power game in which like the savage and the brute strength exist. Basically, it is like a forum in which management go to bargain and trade union go to collect. So the part is the for the collective bargaining distributive, or that is called the collective bargaining here. So in that distributive or the collective bargaining level, the conjunctive bargaining is the most common type of bargaining that involves zero sum negotiations. So here basically under this section, so that collective bargaining is basically a group activity where one group representing the employers and the other group representing the employees who sit together and negotiate the conditions of employment. So there is also a legal framework of the collective bargaining which comes from the Industrial Dispute Act. These are all the part linked to that because the freedom of association is given as a fundamental right by Article 19C of the Constitution of India. And this was recognized in the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, the Trade Union Act 1926, as well as the Industrial Empowerment Act. So here the basically there is a code of discipline, there is a secret ballot, the check of system is there, and membership verification. So here basically in that process, one party gain is another party's loss. Then the integrative or cooperative bargaining, which includes, which is similar to the problem solving sessions in which both sides are trying to reach a mutually beneficial alternative, a win-win situation. Okay, so both parties may gain or neither party loses. Then productive bargaining. It is a form of collective bargaining leading to a productivity agreement in which management offers a pay rise in exchange for alterations to employ working practices designed to increase productivity. Then the other is the composite bargaining, where the wages are with equity, where everyone sit there and employs their focused on the wages for a similar on a same scale there, so that no unfair practices can be happen. So in that process of collective bargaining, so there is the basically the preparatory phase, a discussion phase, a proposal phase, then comes the bargaining, settlement, formalizing agreement, and finally the enforcing agreement. So here basically these are there are certain levels of bargaining. So under that preparatory phase, so basically say a farm or plant level agreement is there. So at plant level, the collective bargaining agreement is say restricted to a specific plant or manufacturing unit of a company. And the aim is to ensure healthy relation between the management and the workers and to clarify with the misunderstandings and doubt. So the collective bargaining agreement at plant level first started in the year 1955, where the Bata Shoe Company and Tata Iron and Steel Company first introduced this concept at plant level. So what happens? So in correlation to the various aspects, one by one, this changes or the segment or the framework that varies. So here basically the selection of the negotiation team is there under the preparatory phase, and under that preparatory phase, this phase involves the composition of negotiation team, representative of the both the parties, and they should have adequate knowledge and skills for the negotiation. Then comes the discussion phase, where they decide an appropriate time and set a proper climate for negotiation. The maintenance for mutual trust and understanding, which involves active patience listening, asking questions, observation, and summarizing the decision. Then includes the proposal phase. So after preparation, discussion is there, then proposal is there. So this phase is described as the brainstorming, where the exchange of message takes place and opinion of both the parties. Then comes the main stage, bargaining stage, where both the parties will involve in the activities, problem solving and proposal. After bargaining, it leads to settlement, where the settlement phase starts with describing the consisting of the effective joint implementation of the agreement through shared vision, some strategic planning, and negotiated change. Then comes the formalizing agreement. So the drafting of agreement is there. After a good faith of bargaining, a formal document must be prepared and it should be simple, clear, and concise. So signing the agreement here, both the parties sign the agreement and abide by its terms and conditions. And then comes the enforcing of the agreement. So to have that agreement effective and meaningful, it should be enforced or implemented immediately. So Initially, we have talked about the objectives. So this here fulfill the objectives where like to safeguard the worker interest via a collective action, to resolve the conflict or dispute concerning the working conditions and wages, even to restrict the third party intervention in the employment related matters, and to solve the problems arising between the management and the workers with the help of the negotiations, and bring management and workers to the common point so that this enforcing agreement can be made. So, as per one professor, so Van V. Kennedy, he told that collective bargaining is like horse trading, a bluff having casualty and threats. So the main characteristics of this collective bargaining is basically it signifies a group activity as well as it is flexible and mobile, because collective bargaining is not always an economic process. It is a socio-economic process where the values, aspirations, and expectations play a significant role. So, in collective bargaining, there is an ample scope of discussion, compromise, mutual give and take rather than going for a dispute. So, it is a continuous process. So, these are the steps that I have elaborated. It is a continuous process as it provides a mechanism for continuing harmonious relation between the management and workers. Even it emphasizes the industrial democracy at work as employees are given a chance in framing the policies.